any labor shortages are just a function of how much people are being paid. That's the ridiculous part. So anytime you see a company that's complaining about missed opportunities, it just means they're not paying the proper resource. Like, it 100% means they are not properly paying the resources required to maintain the business. Simple as that. Like, there's no, we'll read the article itself, but there's no other excuse for it. There's so many companies out there that are like, well, we can't hire somebody to do this because this job is trivial and this job is stupid. But nobody cares if a job is trivial or stupid. People have to have a job to pay for their lives, to pay for how they live. So to say that, hey, nobody wants to work this menial job really means that your company isn't productive enough to provide for the person in that position. It is as simple as that. Nova Scotia businesses missed out on approximately $1 billion worth of potential sales and contracts in 2022 due to labor shortages, according to a new report to be released Wednesday. Duncan Robertson, senior policy analyst in Nova Scotia with the Canadian Federation for Independent Business, told members of a legislative committee on Tuesday that figure is the highest in Atlantic Canada. Labor shortages pose a serious concern for half our members in Nova Scotia, he told MLAs. Although a shortage of workers is a problem for many sectors, Robertson said the construction and manufacturing industries missed out on the most opportunity due to a lack of workers. I think we're going to look back at this type of mindset and mentality, and we're going to look back at the same mindset of we didn't have enough slaves. Like, it really is going to be seen that way. Like, there is infinite amount of work to be done on this planet. I would gladly take 100 people and put together some kind of business and create some kind of productive anything based on the intelligence of those people. But I have to have the resources for it initially. If the people who have the resources for it and the capital to do something can't do that thing, they need to up their expectations of how much they're willing to pay for that service, for that product. I could say, I have a labor shortage right now. I have a labor shortage around the house. Nothing's getting cleaned. Why isn't anybody coming and cleaning and helping me out? And they go, well, why? What are you paying people? Well, I don't want to pay anything. I want people to show up to my house, clean everything, fix everything for me, and leave. That's a labor shortage. No, it's not a labor shortage. This is crazy. Consequences for communities. Those missed opportunities can affect the ability of a business owner to pay down their debt or expand and support their community, says Robertson. 66 cents out of every dollar spent at a small business stays local, he told reporters. Which means you're having a 33% reduction in value in a community. That's what I read right there. You're removing 30% of the value of the community. Now, this is not always true because a business can add more value to a community than it removes. But these stats, they're not very, I don't know, not very human. If there's not a whole lot of these dollars going in, it has a rippling effect on the local communities as well. There's no easy way to address labor shortage, says Robertson. But greater awareness about the existing government programs intended to get more people working in the trades. More exposure to that option for high school students could make a huge difference, he said. So instead of paying and incentivizing people to go into the positions and providing good workplaces and good setups for that, let's just convince children to go into it instead. Smart fucking idea, guys. Since coming to power, the Tory government has introduced a tax credit for people younger than 30 who enter the trades. More recently, the government has made changes to apprenticeship process and took out other steps intending to attract and retain more workers. Efforts to attract more workers. Provincial officials estimated Nova Scotia needs 11,000 new tradespeople by 2030. The government is turning to immigration to cut into this shortfall. This is disgusting. This is fucking absolutely disgusting. Let's get more poor immigrants in here so we can underpay them to build houses, to build shitty houses, to build things that are of poor quality. That just makes perfect sense to me. Officials recently attended a construction-specific event in London, England, where they met with people looking to move to Canada. A government spokesperson says 800 contracts were made at the event and 140 high potential candidates are being reviewed. A group of officials from the province construction industry and potential employers will also be in Toronto later this week for a 3-day job fair focused on construction sector. A lot of newcomers attend the fair. Avia Sapale, Nova Scotia's Deputy Minister of Labour, Skills and Immigration, told reporters. In our work preparing to attend the fair, we pre-qualified 900 people who are looking for work in skilled trades and are willing to think about living in Nova Scotia and working here. A call for tax review. Robertson said many businesses are paying more than minimum wage. This is not a fucking argument. This is infuriating. More than minimum wage. Wow. Clearly that isn't enough. Clearly that's nowhere near enough to get people in. The provincial government could help by addressing the heavy tax burden people face in the province, he said. Brandon Ellis, a senior manager of policy for the Atlantic Chamber of Commerce, made similar point during the meeting. Ellis is calling on the province to do a review of its tax system. Former Liberal government commissioned such report in 2014 but did not act on it. Ellis said it's time for a fresh look from scratch. The landscape of the world has changed, he told reporters. The cost of doing business has significantly increased. The cost of living has significantly increased. The cost of doing business has only increased because the expectation from the average business owner is significantly higher for their amount of returns than what is allowed in returns for these companies. Now, I'm not blaming the mom and pop shop stores, but I am blaming the larger corporations, which they have an expectations of profit which are significantly larger than the world is allowing right now. That's just the way it is, because a lot of the products that we're putting out are shit. A lot of the buildings that we're building, they're shit, because we're hiring people for the lowest possible pay, and so you get the lowest possible quality across every single industry. It is the way the world's going right now. An increasing number of chamber members cite a lack of housing as a barrier to hiring staff. No, you don't pay them. They build houses that they cannot afford. That is simple as that. They build houses that they cannot afford. He called on the government to produce a concrete plan to deal with the issue. The provincial government recently released housing strategy does not go far enough, he said. I don't think that they come close to the amount of houses they need to increase the level of supply to adequately support the labor market. What your company should be able to do is get you a house and a car and groceries. That is what an average company should be able to do. North American companies think that they should be able to get a mansion, 2 extra cars, a vacation home. The expectation for profit is so significantly higher than the market is actually allowing right now that the lower guys on the chain are freaking out, and they're like, well, we're not making as much profit for our multi-billion-dollar investors. So that's a problem for our multi-billion-dollar investors. That's not a problem for the people who are not living in the fucking houses. They're not living in the fucking houses. The issue with hiring people, yeah, I know, Bird, we're getting frustrated here. The issue with people not living in houses is people not living in houses. It's not the fact that there's not enough work. That is it. It's the pay. It's the compensation for the work. Nobody wants to work for slave owners. And that is what these articles are talking about. They're like, how do we get more people to work for slave owners? And people are like, well, we're getting paid. No, we are so close from that. We are so close to slavery, like in terms of years, in terms of time, that the discussion that people have is more about how do we put people in slave jobs than how do we get people good houses and good quality lives so we can build productive societies and towns and cities. I hate these articles. I hate them so much because they're only written from the perspective of somebody who's literally never worked any construction, any type of labor, any type of productivity job in their entire life. And it is mind-blowing. Articles would not be written like this if these people had to go fucking work. They would not be written like this. They would be saying thousands of people left near homeless, productivity in Canada is low, quality of service is incredibly low. There's the issue. Not, oh no. Like, you gotta be able to take a look at the context of the article. Especially you have to take a look at the perspective that articles are written from. A lot of these articles are written in the idea of, we need more people that are not me, to work in worse conditions than me, so I don't have to work in these conditions. That is what these articles are about. I get so furious. It really is, how do we get more people to come in and work, because I don't want to work.